Fiona McDonald and Andrea Newman to come forward. Thank you. Sorry to keep you waiting, but I thought it was important to start the meeting with a summary of where we've got to.
To come to this meeting or to put up my carpets, so I was quite pleased to see this this morning also. Good morning. My name is Andrea Newman. This is Fiona McDonald. We both own land in the residential red zone in the Port Hills. On the 22nd of February in 2011, having sold my home a week earlier, I was preparing to deliver my documentation to the Christchurch City Council for building consent. The earthquake and the government's decision to red zone our land halted my plan to build my family a home. Like 50 other families in my position, I do not, 3 years on, have an offer from the government to purchase my property. Our treatment by the national government has been appalling. Our treatment from our council has not been much better. These families feel they are being forced to lose a large chunk of their equity. For what reason? Put simply, for the large majority of section owners in the Port Hills, the reason our land is red zoned is not because our land is damaged, but because our neighbours' unstable land threatens to release rocks onto ours. The government, who always intended to make lowball offers to the Port Hills vacant landowners, as they did with the flat land, deliberately ensured that our group could not join any legal challenge, such as that mounted by the Quake outcasts, by delaying announcement of an offer. The Quake outcasts went on to successfully win both a High Court challenge on the legality of their 50% offer and subsequently at the Court of Appeal. Yet despite the judges clearly calling for a new offer to be devised, none has materialised for this group, nor has one been announced for the Port Hills. In my case, and in the majority of cases, it is my neighbour's neighbour, the Christchurch City Council, that own the unstable rocks above in Morgan's Valley. Morgan's Valley has 13 vacant sections in the red zone. At the time the subdivision was under development, installation of rock protection works were a requirement of the Resource Management Act consent in order for the subdivision to get approval. As a prospective buyer, there was no rockfall hazard identified on the limb, and purchasers were led to believe any that existed had been mitigated by the council. A full maintenance plan was to be put in place to maintain the rockfall protection structures. After doing research, it is very disturbing to learn that other quotes for more elaborate rockfall protection in Morgan's Valley were rejected, and the least expensive option was accepted. Alarmingly, the option chosen was designed specifically for a subdivision of 7 sections, not the 60 sections that eventuated. The geotechnical engineer contracted by the council to design, install and sign off the mitigation recommended several of the lots have hazard notices placed on the limbs, but the council failed to comply. The council can provide no documentation in regards to the regular maintenance procedures or a schedule of regularly completed maintenance. Since the earthquake, no attempt has been made to fully reinstate the protection. Interestingly, the council deny all knowledge of the other more robust designs that were quoted by respectable geotechnical organisations. And to date, we have been told that the file held at the council on Morgan's Valley has been lost. In June of 2013, one red-zoned homeowner in Morgan's Valley successfully had her S124 notice overturned by determination at MBIE. In the documentation, it was strongly recommended that the Christchurch City Council urgently reinstate and bring up to standard the rockfall protection measures that were still a requirement of the resource management consent. A formal request was made to the council by this homeowner. and it was the council's acting CEO who acknowledged that the council would not endeavour to repair the rockfall protection works because it was not yet known if it would continue to be a requirement for the subdivision, as the central government red zoning process could well result in affected land being owned by the Crown. Using my words, thus offering the council a get out of jail free card in regard to their obligations to repair the structure. If the Christchurch City Council were to meet its obligations in Morgans Valley and elsewhere in the Port Hills, vacant landowners would quite likely choose not to accept a lowball offer from the government. The whole process is a coercive chicken and egg situation, which is not conducive to recovery for the landowners and quite frankly borders on being corrupt. The vacant landowners in the Port Hills have legal advice from 3 independent sources that confirm the council has a case to answer for in regards to nuisance. It is not okay for one landowner to cause nuisance to its neighbour. If my retaining wall collapses on my neighbour's house, it's my problem. Rockfall is the same problem. A recent article in the press sadly highlighted the preventable death of 87-year-old Wai Fong Lau at 54 Rakura Place in Redcliffs, and the importance of the council taking responsibility for its consenting decisions in regard to rockfall-prone areas. What is clear to me today, as I represent 52 vacant landowners, is that a 50% offer to vacant landowners in the Port Hills will be rejected. The financial losses involved are just too great for these families to bear. The question I wish to put to this council is, does this council wish to play a role in resolving the situation for these families, or will it force them to take legal action? There is an opportunity for this council to actively take responsibility for what is legally the council's problem. The red zone vacant landowners in the Port Hills are looking to move on with their lives, preferably without the need to take legal action. It is time for the Christchurch City Council to come to the party to sensibly discuss mitigation options and/or compensation where applicable. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Questions? Yanni?
So are you aware that we've asked staff to do a look at area-wide mitigation? And have staff have they talked to you about what they're looking at?
No, we're waiting. Yeah.
Have you been given any information about what they're considering in terms of Morgans Valley? Or?
Not specifically to Morgans Valley or any of the areas that we own land in. Yeah.
Okay. Second question through the Mayor. Have you got any sense of a time frame from government over when they may make an offer?
No.
And I mean, thank you for making the deputation. I know personally I tried to get it as part of the cost share agreement that you did get an offer of 100%.
Yep.
Council at the time, we've had a briefing memo, but it doesn't refer to the fact that the previous council didn't want government to do that. They voted against doing that. And, you know, I really feel for what you're going through. So hopefully we can get, I mean, it's a question of the Chief Executive really, where is the report into area-wide mitigation? I thought we were having it today, but we don't seem to have had it. Is it coming? Can we talk to the people that are in these areas as part of that report so that they feel included in the process?
Yes, the report is coming. I'm not quite sure how far away it is, but it's... Look, I haven't got anybody here who can give me a definitive answer, but 2 to 4 weeks. Yep.
It's just that it's on the agenda for today. So if we don't have it for today and we're told another 2 to 4 weeks, we've also got, I mean, I welcome what the Mayor said at the start of the meeting around the government working with us around the flooding issue. This is actually another issue that has been a much longer outstanding issue where we should actually be able to be working with Sarah and government over getting a reasonable solution for what these people are going through.
I'll work on that report and make sure it gets to you quickly.
Ali Jones?
Hi, thanks for coming in. You mentioned the overturning of the Section 124 that MB overturned. Had there been a request of the City Council to do the same for that Section 124?
I believe so.
And that clearly wasn't accepted by the Council?
Correct.
Do you know the reasons why it wasn't accepted?
Difference of opinion of what risk actually was presented to that home.
Right, so the Council did not agree that the risk enabled them to lift the 124, or that the risk, right?
That's
But
correct.
MB did.
MB did. That's
Okay.
the one step above.
Yeah, sure, thank you.
Ref Manji?
I guess to open the door to have discussions with this group. They're not unreasonable people. They've suffered a lot. They're involved in many other issues, earthquake-wise as well. And they are looking to move on. And the problem being that central government doesn't seem to want us to move on. And that, I guess, forces us to come here today and be in a position where we don't feel we have much choice but to explore the legal options open to us as landowners. As Yanni said last year, he put forward a motion to try and encourage the council to at least seek 100% offer, and the rest of the council voted against him. That sent a signal to us that, we're just not considered by this council at all. But I'm hoping the new council, with their passion for Christchurch and its people, will listen.
If you could get 100%, would people accept that, do you think?
I think what we've always been looking for as a group is just to have a fair treatment and to see that a large group of people in the same situation have been offered 100%, and then for reasons that were completely out of control of our group, we've been offered, well, we haven't even been offered, but those people in the red residential flatland have been offered 50%. It's just not fair. So we've always been looking for a fair offer.
Originally, when I asked the question of all the members of this group, over 80% of them at that point in time said if they had an offer of 100%, they would cut their losses and they would leave.
Okay.
There will always be some that will not.
Is there any other questions? Vicky Buck?
Thank you for coming. Can I just get a sense of the value of the sections?
The 50-odd sections I'm referring to have about $10 million rateable value in total.
Any other questions? No. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming and making the deputation to the council. And as you've heard from the acting chief executive, we'll endeavour to get that matter in front of the committee within the next month.
Yes.
Yep, good. Thank you.
Liam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next,
Leanne, sorry, can I just ask, is there a chance for us as a council to have any discussion about what our response could be? Other than just waiting for the report, which, we've been patiently doing since December last year. But is there any opportunity for us at some stage to have a conversation, possibly with government, around when they're likely to make the offer? Because that seems to be one of the key things.
the matter has been referred to the Supreme Court. It's been appealed to the Supreme Court. So I know that the government won't discuss matters relating to the offer while the matter's in front of the court. That was why they... it is essentially, as you pointed out, that's why these people don't have an offer. So, I think that, we can raise the fact that this was raised here today. I don't think we need to have a discussion and a resolution about that, but I think that we have to look to our issue, which is the issue that has been raised with respect to the area-wide mitigation. So we have to get that report. That's our responsibility, not the government's, and I think we should look to our own responsibility first. So that's what I propose that we do.
Yeah, I understand that. It is actually very much part of government because it is 50%. So
No, I'm sorry. We're talking about the land mitigation issue, And I know that the government had, you know, as part of the cost-sharing agreement, have a 50% contribution in that regard. But I would like us to deal with that issue separate from the cost of the offer that has been made, because it is as it is, and it is not, but it hasn't been made to these individual landowners for the reason that we've heard today. So I'd like to take that one separately, because, and certainly at the right time, we obviously will, but I believe that, anyway, so...
And the second question I had was for the Acting Chief Executive, can we get some a legal opinion or a staff response to the concerns that were raised around the consenting around Morgans Valley that have been raised?
I don't know that we need a legal issue. I think we need an update on the whole issue around the history of the consenting and how the subdivision was commenced without, well, whether the level of rock protection that was put in place was appropriate. I mean, the reference to Rakiura Terrace is apposite. In that case, the consent wasn't made subject to rock protection. At a later stage, rock protection was required as a result of a court decision. What happened in the February event, though, wasn't, or actually it might have been the June event for that one. But it was not rock protection that could have protected. Even the court's requirements in terms of rock protection weren't sufficient to protect against cliff collapse. So it was it does raise issues around what is confronted with there.
Exactly, and I think one of the reason for asking the question is, given that we're going into a natural hazards chapter review of our district plan, understanding how our existing practices have worked or not worked is incredibly important to informing the conversations with our community about what we're proposing.
Absolutely, and I think what happened in Littleton yesterday also helps inform, the very, challenging decisions that we have to make in that regard. So, thank you very much.
And I'll pick up on the lost file. I didn't know about that.
No, I didn't know about that either.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's actually my next question with the lost file. If we could find it, it'd be interesting to see what's in it.
Yeah, no, we will certainly put out a search effort for that. Thank you very much. And now we have a presentation.